Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, July 12th, 2018. My name is Rich, and joining me once again is Bijan. How you making out?
Living life, bro. Enjoying it. Getting my tan on before my amazing trip to Japan. That's right, everyone. I'm going to be this podcast, next podcast, but then I'm going to be taking a break just for a minute, and I'll be back. No worries. No worries.
Yeah, taking a little break. We actually don't miss very many weeks. You've missed 1 week, I think, since you joined me 2.5 years ago. So, I mean, we're pretty good for the most part.
I think we're pretty consistent, man. Every single week, rain or shine, sickness, all of it.
Year-round, too. For those that only join us in the summer, we are here year-round covering other obstacle course shows, too. So
yeah, other obstacle course shows, but also other competitions, you know. There's local competitions around the world, but also, man, like this offseason, I'm really looking forward to it, Rich, because we've got Sasuke from earlier this year that we still have to cover, and we've got, Ultimate Beastmaster, you know that's going to be dope, and there's quite a few others, so definitely stick with us, everyone. That said, woo! This episode got me hyped, bro!
This is like an all-star episode. How did we have this many good ninjas left?
Dude, seriously, because there I don't know if it was last week or the week before, there was nobody on the episode. And now I feel like they front end and back end the courses really, because LA is always packed with ninjas. And then it seems like Minneapolis right now, super packed with ninjas. Like, they need to flush all these ninjas out a little bit. That said, I mean, it's nice to say that, but hey, everybody lives in LA. I guess a lot of people are living in that area also, the Minneapolis region.
Yeah, it's blowing up in that region, and they're doing awesome. This was a great episode. I was really happy with this one.
It was good. It was kind of like, you guys see those roller coasters when you start ramping up at the beginning? It was kind of like that, because the first part of this episode was a little rough, but it quickly rose, and it just kept going up and up and up in terms of quality. I was loving it.
Yeah, it started really heavy on the stories and everything else, and I was like, wow, this is like old school ANW. They are really pressing.
Perfect. Yeah, it was so old school ANW, and not in a good way. But
that was not a compliment.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it, because really, I don't want to discredit it. It was it was like a span of maybe 20 minutes, guys.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about 2 hours, it's very much a small portion of it. And I was really, really glad with the quality overall. It really, really rose.
So what do you think of the new obstacles? We had two new ones. We had the Double Twister and the Diamond Dash.
I mean, really, this course is really similar to the course that I saw 2 years ago in the LA Qualifiers. If you guys think back, guys, it's the I don't know. In terms of the new obstacles, they're middle of the road. They're cool. They're not lame, but they're not amazing either. Visually, they're there. I mean, it's just like a swinging pendulum. I don't think anything of it. And really, the balance one, we've seen obstacles like it. So really, to me, they're fine. They do their job in terms of difficulty. But visually and just changing things up, they're not there. I'd have to give them a 5. They're just there.
For the most part, I'd agree. You're right. It is very similar to the LA Qualifiers, because we had the ring jump and the battering ram in the same course.
And those are the two main obstacles. When you look at this course, those are the two big ones. And they're kind good there, but
I'm a big fan of the Double Twister. I think that's a really, really good obstacle.
Okay, so give your thoughts, bro.
I think it tests what you want from a ninja. That is very much body control, precision, lashang. It's got all the things that you need. And you can't just muscle your way through it. You can't just be, an athlete and just jump up there. I mean, you can kind of do it, but you're going to wear yourself out, and it's going to take a lot of effort. It's really, really testing the types of things that we like to see from ninjas.
I agree. It's definitely got a higher threshold of difficulty, but I don't know, man. When you compare these to, the Wingnuts, I just visually, and But I do like the fact that they twist. And I was very curious by the fact that it really, like, there was a lot of women in particular struggling on that. And I just don't know the penchants of what makes it more difficult for, maybe it's just, experience in terms of Lashang or something. I'm not sure. But I found that very curious. It's one of those obstacles I would love to try just to see how difficult it is. I feel like when you're on it, you get a better understanding of what it's like. That said, I don't know. Still, I wasn't impressed. I'm not saying I wasn't impressed in terms of, like, the difficulty. I'm saying I wasn't impressed just in terms of, like, the aesthetic of an obstacle. It's there.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I had everything. I really did. I think it was the best and most difficult second obstacle we've had this season.
You are crazy.
You
That
don't
is
think?
quite a claim. I don't know.
I 100% believe that. I can't think of anything.
I have to look back, bro. I have to look back, but I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, you're going to have a hard time saying that this was harder than the one in LA, but
no,
other
but
than
seriously, for me in difficulty, I just don't know what it's like unless you're there, right? But for me, it's the visual aspect of the overall, like, presence of the obstacle, and I just found it there.
That's funny because even visually, I liked it. I thought it was great.
They gotta do something with it, man. Like, there's something there. You can have that same aesthetic of an obstacle, but changing the visual aspect of it up.
Oh, we agreed on most of the things for quite a while now. That's the first one we've really we don't see eye to eye on.
You're wrong,
Diamond
Rich!
Dash, I'd agree. It's kind of like just a, stretched out coin flip. It's kind of boring and not all that interesting. So I'd agree on that one.
Yeah. That one, I don't know. I was pretty surprised. I'm like, I've seen that before. I was like, whatever, guys. But, that's not going to limit its difficulty. Once again, difficulty's there. That obstacle, I'm sure, is very difficult. Once again, though, it's just more of the same.
I like ring jump, and I don't mind battering ram, but I don't know. Like you said, it is a little bit repetitive. It feels very familiar.
Yeah. Battering ram, I have to look back, but I noticed that they now, not only does it go up on the second portion of it, but also they kind of like parallel where you kind of got to jump sideways. And I have to look back if that was the same in the original version of it.
I don't think it was either, or they didn't highlight it last time. I don't know, because that struck me as new too. That makes it look way more difficult.
Yeah, it definitely has like another element to it. So I just have to look back. And also, when it came to the ring jump, that was very curious to me because that was really the big ninja killer. That took out a lot of people this episode. And we've seen it now for 2 years. I mean, this isn't an obstacle that's, just making its surprise return. We've seen it last year and the year before that. So I'm very curious why it was so difficult for a lot of the ninjas. That said, I mean, it wasn't in this region, so, and it's not an obstacle I necessarily have seen at a lot of ninja gyms, so maybe it's just the element of not a lot of people can train for it, but it still very much surprised me that a lot of people were struggling figuring out the technique involved with it and other elements like that. I don't know if they made it heavier, the ring. It's just one of those things I just have no idea why people were struggling the way they were.
I honestly, I would look back to the second obstacle. I think the double twister wore out a lot of people's grip strength, and it really played a big part in the ring jump, whereas typically you wouldn't have that much stress from a second obstacle.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I mean, that very much could be it. We always talk about a lot of obstacles. It's kind of like a 1-2 punch, right? And one obstacle can not necessarily be like the most difficult, but it drains you out. And yeah, that's a very good point. That very much could be it.
So let's get into the actual runs here. We had Dr. Cody Sessions as our first runner, who actually, right off the bat, shows us the struggle on the double twister. His legs end up hitting the water in the dismount from the ring jump, but even bigger than that is he cut his head open on the end of it, and it looked brutal, man. That ring jump was dangerous this episode.
Yeah, man. That descent, like, if you jump, like, if you make that leap for the platform too early, a little too high up on that, you're really putting yourself in danger. It was interesting, because this guy, he hit his head he fell, and I was like, oh man, that sucks. It's the worst when you're like, your leg just taps the water, right? And then he keeps checking his head, and then he looks over, and it's like a bloodbath, dude. Like, he cut himself open fierce. That was nasty. I was like, kid show, take that off. Like, I do not need to see that much blood, man. Ugh.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, kids at home are going to be a little freaked by that much blood, I would think. And it was weird because before he did that, one of his coworkers, because he's a doctor, one of them had a sign that said, like, break a leg, Cody, I can fix it.
Oh, no.
And I thought, that's kind of weird. You're wishing an injury on the guy, and then right after that, he ends up injuring himself. Like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny thing to put, but yeah,
it was funny.
It's a little too real. It'd only be worse if he actually broke his leg. I mean, I don't wish that upon anybody, but that would have been so awkward. So awkward.
Slowly hiding the sign behind you, like, ooh.
Yeah, for real. Like, just slowly bring it down, be like, ugh.
After Dr. Cody, we had Isaac Mitchell, a liquor store clerk, who met this elderly lady named Rachel and helps her with her physio, I guess.
Oh, my God.
The rap duo, Coffee and Cream. I don't know. I don't know about this whole segment. I don't know why we got this.
I'm sure they're nice people. I'm sure they're great. This was over 3 minutes of my life that I will never get back. This was the most unnecessary, ridiculous video segment I've ever seen in my life. I don't even understand the story. Like, sometimes they ham it up in terms of, like, inspirational stories and stuff. What is the story here? Is it the strangeness of, young black man befriends old white woman and, he's helping her? I don't understand what this is. And then we see the run, and I'm like, all right, well, they're just really trying to find a way to give this guy a story because he does well or surprises us or something. And he gets through the first obstacle, and then he falls in the second obstacle. And I know it's a little hypocritical for me because I fell in the second obstacle, but I am so very sorry. Isaac Mitchell, congratulations. You have the very much distinction this season of getting the horse abs edit of the year. Oh, yeah. I very much, I hate doing it, but it's not his fault. He ran his hardest, and he had a story, and they showed it. But the way everything was presented, this was cringe. This was brutal. It was too long. Everything involved was so unnecessary.
Yeah, it was the length and the amount of, emphasis they put on it, I think, that really killed it. It would have been fine as a quick little segment. They were cute together and all, but it was just too much. It was definitely too much.
Seriously, I'm just saying, guys. I'm a librarian. I befriend old white ladies all the time. I'm black and young. I kind of look like this guy. Like, and I will tell you right now, I would never in my life want my edit to be this.
The horse abs bell of shame is not for the athlete. It's for the editors, for sure.
Oh, yeah. By the way, shame bell. Shame. Just realized I had to do the shame. All right, go ahead. Give your thoughts, bro.
I don't have much more to say. I think you said it all. He was spinning and he fell and jumped to the second twister thingy, and yeah, it was fine for what it was. It was just the segment was too long, and it struck me as a little odd that he, went to the walk-on line and different things. He's never been to a ninja gym. I mean, I get the walk-on line as someone who has trouble selling their story, but is really a strong ninja athlete. I don't get that you haven't really trained for this and then spending all that time in the walk-on line and stuff. It just seems odd to me.
I'm very curious how this was, like, who chose this? Somebody went to her house and filmed this after he ran. I'm just saying.
It's all intentional. Yeah, I don't know. Let's move on. So we've got Jen Roeder next. She's a mom who battled cancer. She's friends with Sarah Schoback, who ended up doing the 15-foot wall the day before her surgery. She had been trying to do for a long time.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's neat that she was able to do that. She was struggling on the rope from the steps. I thought she wasn't going to make it for a second. I thought, oh, come on, don't show her falling on the steps. I wanted to see her at least finish that, which she did. And she managed to beat the double twister. I mean, with the struggle on the rope, I thought, well, she's not getting through the double twister, but whatever, it's still nice. I like when she's standing on the platform afterwards saying, is this real life? Like, I can totally see feeling that way. Like, you must have felt that way as you're standing waiting to take the course on.
This was a great story, and I almost kind of wish that we had not more stories like this, but we had connective stories like this where Shobek's presented with her, right? And we get really Shobek's story with her, and it's kind of like a 1-2 punch. And I'm going to talk about it later, but it's become very much pronounced this season in particular, the fact that we get these, reoccurring ninjas well known, and they're really struggling to present stories for them. So I'm glad, Shobek was able to be presented with her. I wish it was under better circumstances, to be honest with you, because, nobody wishes this upon her friend. But honestly, Jen was great, and I'm very happy for her. As you said, it's something that, matters to her, matters to Sarah Shobek, and as you said, the genuine moments of, is this real life? That was really cool.
Yeah, she ended up going out of the ring jump, as so many did. But she got a big hug from Sarah afterwards. Seemed like there was a genuineness to the whole story and the whole, friendship and everything that it made the whole thing pull together well. And I think you're right. I think it's a good way, as much as the story is tragic, obviously, and she's cancer-free now, which is great. But it's a good way for them to tie in the existing ninjas to these stories and kind of feature two people at once. Moving on, we had Eric Middleton, the Bug Ninja.
Yes.
In one of the most disgusting segments I think I've ever seen on this show.
You mean the best segments? Yes.
So they've got to eat a deep-fried tarantula if he hits the buzzer? Why would they agree to that?
Oh, heck yes, man. I would hella do it. This is so awesome. These are the segments I like. Because this episode, let's be real, it's kind of a downer in terms of, they've got sad story after sad story after sad story on this episode. This is like a moment of levity, man, and not just there's so often where there's hammy moments, right? People just ham it up. People, you can't get people that are not charismatic to be charismatic. It's just, it has to be a genuine instinct, right? This guy's charismatic. He's funny as all heck. He hams it up in the right ways. He's presenting some ridiculous thing, but they're actually making it super entertaining. I was loving every moment of this. The fact that he's got a plate, right? And he decorates it in the most decadent style of all these bug guts and bug parts all over. And it's this beautiful dish. And he sits down and he's eating it oh yes, this beautiful bug salad that I'm eating. It's fantastic and it's good for you. I love everything about this. By the way, I ate crickets the other day. Dopeness. Bugs are all right.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I knew you would be all on board for this, eating crickets on Instagram. No. This is not a thing we need to promote.
Yes.
That was disgusting. I hated when he was frying them in the pan. Somehow that was the worst part of the whole thing.
It's so fantastic, man. And you know what the best part is about this? They need more of this. I love the fact that his entire run had stakes. Because of the fact that Matt and Akbar were I don't know if they promised or they were kind of pressured into, but whatever it was, they agreed that if he hits the buzzer, they will both have to eat a deep fried tarantula. And this was the greatest moment of this show in this episode. Because I was so, just ecstatic, and I was so happy. Every moment that he got closer and closer, I was just cheering him on more and more. This is how you get everybody in America to root for you, genuinely. It's I so want to see, in particular, Akbar eat that bug. Because Akbar's like you, Rich, where he's no. And I love the fact that it's the complete opposite of what they usually do, where they're actively rooting against this guy. Yeah. Every time he completes an obstacle, it's not yay or anything. You literally hear Akbar going, no! It was so great.
This was only the second time I've ever rooted against a ninja, and I was totally when he struggled with the timing on the ring jump, I thought, okay, maybe he won't make it. It seemed like they were telegraphing the fact that he was going to make it just by the fact that they went on about it. And featured him. I thought, oh no, he must beat this course. And he did, and they had to eat it. And I feel like Akbar got the short end there. He ended up eating like the biggest piece of it unintentionally and only giving like a leg over to Matt.
Oh, it was fantastic. Akbar's just said, like, props to Akbar, though. He went straight in. That buzzer hits, and Akbar's like, let's just get it over with. That's the way to do it. So props to Akbar. He's a man of his word. His facials were absolutely amazing. I loved it. This segment was so fun. This run was so fun. Whether you're actively rooting for him or against him, you were passionately rooting. And that's something that everybody, it's something like in wrestling. Everybody's like, whether you love me or hate me, at least you care. And that is what I can say about this guy. So props to Eric. You are tied this week for Athletically Profound Run of the Night. Yes, thank you for all the entertainment. Keeping them bugs. Represent, bro.
Very nice. After him, we get some fast forwards.
Hold on, very quick. You think Christine Leahy's actually going to eat that bug? Because she is
Not
like, nope. But come on, man.
I appreciated the honesty of her just going, nope, that is not happening.
Oh, I so want it to happen. Because Christine kind of has that veneer of like, I am, how do I say this? I'm not as down as like, the host and all this stuff. I just want her to like let loose and just go for it. Like she finally just jumped into the water this past year. Let's see her like go fully on in.
That is funny because that's exactly what I was thinking too. She jumped in the water this year, which I think showed a lot of, character.
Really?
I don't know if I call it character, but it was better. It was better.
But...
Last year when she didn't jump in and she just told them to jump in, that was too aloof. That was too above the whole thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. So yeah, I'm glad, but maybe she's embracing it. Maybe she realized that and she's like, "Yo, let's go all in." Like I can only hope. Come on, Christine, I'm rooting for you.
No, I don't think it's gonna happen, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, we had fast forwards after that, including Dan Yeager, who fell on the ring jump. Dan Yeager.
That shocked me, man. That's got to be. Is he part of the top 30 or no? No, he can't be. He can't be then. That sucks, man. That's got to be like one of the bigger surprises of the year in terms of like early falls. He's going to be up there, and that really sucks because Dan Yeager, he's so good. But really, what shocked me more than anything else is if you look back at all the shocking moments in terms of ninjas falling like early, it's usually in a transition obstacle. For instance, like myself. But no, for real. What I'm saying is that transition obstacles, the margin for error is very, very, very minuscule, and people make mistakes. This wasn't that case. He fell on an obstacle that plays to his strengths. This guy's part of the wolf pack. He's got upper body and grip strength for days, and he fell on the ring thing. I'm forgetting it, but you know what I mean. That's an obstacle I would have never in my life guessed that he would have fallen on. And that's the most shocking part of it all.
So yeah, sorry to see Dan go so early, but he may be a shoo-in for one of the Stage 5 Ninja Awards now, at least. I mean, as a small consolation.
I don't necessarily think he's going to want to win that prize, but...
That's not one you want to win, no. But after him, we get to see Austin Gray, a rookie who donated a kidney to his friend, which was a nice little story. It may have went on a little bit long, but I thought they were very cute together, and it was a very touching story.
Yeah, you basically encapsulated it. It was a very, very nice story. It's a story that, in the threshold of this episode, it's like one too many of these types of stories, right? But that said, it was a story that should have been told and was nice. It went too long, but I can't harp on it too much because he seems genuine with everything going on, and it was a very good run also. And I think that really makes up for it more than anything else, right? Is that he didn't fall on the third obstacle or something like that. Like, he did go all the way, and that was really cool.
Yeah, I think that was the key to this one being okay, right? This is the one that, hey, I mean, that's a really interesting story, especially to put it in context, and especially where he did so well in the course. And I love his shirt. It said, of course I'm an organ donor. Who wouldn't want a piece of this? I thought that was a great shirt.
That's amazing. I saw like the first part of it, and I was like, oh, it's just some inspirational message or something. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I was curious as he was going along. I'm like, I kept seeing that first part, and I thought, what does the rest of that say? He trains with Ian Dory and the Wolfpack. By the sounds of it, he had no issues on the course at all. He moved like a vet. He even attempted the mega wall. But
it was very clear this dude trains, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I really should look this up, but I swear that name. I think he did an episode of the Wolfpack podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's him.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
But unfortunately, he missed the regular wall. He went out to the mega wall and then didn't have it left for the regular wall, and so he doesn't get to hit the buzzer. Like, that's kind of a sad note at the end of the course.
Yeah, but, I could see this happening quite often, honestly. You blow yourself out doing the mega wall, and, you just don't... It's the same as, like, when we see people fail the mega wall or the regular warped wall twice, and then most of the time they almost don't even get close to the third one, right? Because they just wear themselves out. So it was a similar thing. I can't knock him for it. Honestly, you get to that point, you already made it. You don't get the buzzer thingy, but it's cool. I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah. A couple more fast forwards after that. Andrew Rue-Yori went out on the Diamond Dash, but was 27th place in the end, so he's still in it. And Sarah Schoback went out on the ring jump in her fast forward. So, yeah, and she's in it as well.
Yeah, but once again, I like the fact that Schoback may have been fast forwarded, but they did show her like a part of her run, and we did get more of what her story would have been this season. So actually, like, they need more stuff like this.
Yeah, I figure with her having the big ninja gym in Minneapolis, she's got to get some love in this episode. Like, if she's ever going to get some airtime, it's got to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But when we came back, we had Maggie Thorne, who barely got off the double twister. I thought she was going out there the way she was going on there for so long. She ended up stuck on the 8-inch peg on the downslope of the ring jump. She was hooking her arms on it to rest, which was pretty smart, but eventually her grip gave out when she managed to get over that peg that she had been stuck on. The jolt knocked her loose.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for Maggie Thorne because, she's so passionate about the sport, and you just see at the start line, it's not like, oh, she's got like a few friends in American Ninja Warrior. It's like every Ninja Warrior was out there to root her on. I mean, she's truly one of those people that are almost like a connecting glue for a lot of ANW athletes. So I'm glad that she had so much support. I'm glad really that they didn't ham up her story, because it could have been very easy for them to do that. I'm glad they showed the respect of, like, we've told her story, let's move on, and if she has like another story to tell, I'm sure they'll tell it eventually in later seasons. So I'm glad they didn't go the route of finding something, just like anything, and it's just like, guys, come on. I found that her heart was definitely shown on display. I have to imagine she really wore herself out on that twister pendulum thing, and it was probably really hard for her with the rings, but she was able to really just give it her all and keep on going and keep on going. I felt like the writing was on the wall as soon as she was like looping her arms on there, just because you're putting a lot of weight in the connecting joint of your elbow and you're really cutting off blood circulation. So it may give your hands a rest for a moment, but you have to be real smart about doing that. And
right.
She did anything she could, but I felt like she wasn't on the last swing, so it was going to be really hard for her to get through that.
And she didn't make the top 5, so she won't be moving on to the finals or Vegas this year.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she didn't, because she took so long on the double twister, and that was the cutoff point, was to get to the ring jump, right? So
makes sense. Wow, that sucks. But like Maggie Thorne, you're going to see her again multiple times. She's great.
After her, we had Gavin McCall, whose video of his daughter Lila went viral last year to the point that everyone in my entire life has sent me that video multiple times at this point, I think.
Yeah, but you were a big fan when it first came out. Like, if you guys look back, man, he was so about it more than me. I mean, that was a really cool video, but I remember you in particular were ecstatic about it. Like, you were like hitting me up, like blowing my phone up, being like, dude, you gotta see this, you gotta see this, you gotta see this. And I'm like, all right, I see it, man. I was like,
yeah, I was guilty as guilty as anyone else, because it was cool. He did a really good job of calling the course, editing the video, putting together the course for his daughter. She was adorable. She was doing all kinds of weird, cute little things. Obviously, with over 100 million views, it was a great video.
If you guys haven't seen it, y'all need to see it, by the way. Like, I'm sure Rich will link it. Like, y'all gotta see that video.
I'll put a link in there for anybody that hasn't seen it. I don't know how you could have missed it along the way, but yeah. So he took the course, and I didn't know he was doing ninja stuff at all. And they've been blowing up all over the place. Like, they've been at the Wolfpack tour. They've been on, like they mentioned, Little Big Shots and things like that. Like, they've been leveraging her. She's like an influencer at this point. She's got all these followers for her channel. I think it's called like What Lila Does or something like that.
Yeah, but like, I've seen her many times. This is the first time I've seen him. And this dude is actually really dope. He is the epitome of the like mid-aged father. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He just looks like the guy that comes on the course and cheers on one of the ninjas, like as the father, right? And I really like this aesthetic. Like, imagine seeing this guy in the back with all these ninjas, right? And then here he comes, and he actually, I can't say he does well, but like, he gets through an obstacle.
He vaulted over a car.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, in the video in particular, this guy's looking dope as all heck. It's like a guy that in no way, shape, or form you'd expect to be doing this kind of stuff, and he does it. And he's funny, and he's charismatic, and he has the cutest daughter in the world, man. And you know they're passionate about this sport, like, everything about it. This is a guy that I genuinely like, and I barely know, like, I've seen maybe 30 seconds of this guy, and I'm like, this guy is amazing, and I love him. I genuinely love him. That's right. I will marry you. But that's another story. But I'm saying, like, this guy, like, I don't know, man. I loved it. And in many ways, he reminded me of you, Rich. I just got to say. Like, I was like, that is Rich personified.
It kind of felt like he was one of those times where, you know, I could, how do I say it? It's like seeing yourself on the course a little bit. Like, along the way, you probably see some athletes and you're like, yeah, that guy's kind of like me. You actually, even in this episode, you mentioned there's a guy, yeah, he kind of looked like me. I don't get that a lot. I really don't see that a whole lot on the course. This dude, yeah, I kind of get it. I feel like, hey, maybe I could do that. Maybe there is a hope that I could do that kind of thing if I worked at it. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, I love it. Like the guy, I really, really, really hope we see him next year, because I think this can be a fun thing, especially like him in training with his daughter. I think they're a perfect pairing, very cute. I'm sure A&W really wants to catch on like all the popularity that this little girl has, so I think we can like be in running for like a very fun like yearly segment with these two.
Yeah, they went off. He fell on the jump to the double twister, but it was still a good run. It was interesting to watch, and I wish him all the best. I do hope to see him back. Yeah,
same. And once again, it was a fun moment in an episode where there's a lot of sad stories. So I really like it. It was a breath of fresh air for me.
Yeah, there was a lot of segments like that. We had some fast forwards next, including Larissa Cottle, who went out in the ring jump, Sarah Heason, who went out in the ring jump again. Like, the ring jump is just brutal this episode. Larissa did not move on, but Sarah Heason was in 5th place and does move on to the finals. Mm-hmm. But when we came back, it was Lance Pekus, whose wife has MS, as we learned last year. And a doctor learned about it as well from watching the show and reached out to them and has been helping them, which was, a nice little segment for them, a little more uplifting, as much as it's still got a tinge of sadness to it. At least she's making some progress, and she was able to come to watch him run, so that was good.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's one of those, as you said, like it's bittersweet kind of, right? Because it's a sad situation, but we do see progress, and this is a story that I'll never complain about, because we have such a connection with the Picas family at this point that you want to hear a yearly update. Like, what's going on with them? Is she doing better? Like, it's something that you're genuinely not involved in. How do I say this? Like, it almost feels like you're part of the family and you really have a connection with them. So it really matters. And I'm very glad that they showed this segment respect. It wasn't hammed up. It wasn't, multiple shots of her looking longingly into the sunset and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was genuine updates and real life stuff. And that's the stuff that I like. Just get on with the realness. And I appreciated that.
What did you think of the way Lance took down the ring jump that took out so many ninjas?
Oh, dude, he was beast moding.
Destroyed it.
Yeah, like when he would land, it was a genuine thump, right? Like I thought they were gonna he was gonna break the damn thing. Like this guy was seriously going for it. I love it. Like Lance, he's always a story of he's going to muscle through it, but with technique. Like he has technique, but he always has that little extra spice to it of yo, I am a powerful human being and I'm going to show it off. And I like it.
Yeah, I love watching him run. I think he's great. He did end up missing the mega wall. He couldn't get the traction, but he did beat the course once again. So we'll see him in the finals.
Yeah, and I'm glad that there's a lot of well-known ninjas that are making attempts on the mega wall. Yeah, you might not get it, but you gotta go for it, right? That's what the show's about. And it adds another element of the more people that fail at it, the more revered the mega wall is. And the more people that complete it, the more happy you are that they are able to achieve it. So all around, Mega Wall is a big win, and I'm happy that we're seeing more and more ninjas trying for it.
We are seeing the best ninjas out there not beating that Mega Wall, which just gives it that air of absolutely taking down something monstrous at this point.
Yeah, one of the ninjas that I would have thrown all my money in the pot to say they're going to complete this Mega Wall, they didn't. So once again, you just never know.
Yep. Speaking of, fast forward to John Alexis Jr., who we thought they had gifted $10,000 at the beginning of this year, fell on the Diamond Dash, so he didn't get to attempt the Mega Wall, or let's face it, complete the Mega Wall.
Yeah, for real. I'm sure you can just jump from the base of it too. but for real, this guy, I was genuinely, it was one of those surprising moments. The other thing was he was fast forwarded, which shocked me, but it was kind of like the Dan Yeager thing where I was like, oh my God, he's not making it to the finals. This is crazy. Because John Alexis Jr. is good. He's really, really, really good. But it's that thing that I always say. When it comes to the taller athletes, it's the balance obstacles that are going to be the Achilles heel. Balance obstacles are very, very difficult the taller you are.
Get this. I did not expect this, but he actually did move on to the finals. He got 25th.
Yeah, I saw that in the end, and I was so happy for it. But, at that moment, I was terrified. Weren't you, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was not. There's no way he was going on.
Yeah, but they highlighted it in the end. I was so happy because really this guy, he's got a lot to show. I genuinely think he's going to get past that coin flip. I think that's what it's called. Dash?
No, it's Diamond Dash. It's just like coin flip.
It's just a renamed coin flip. So he's going to get through the coin flip next in the finals. Let's just say that.
Yeah. After him, when we came back, we had Abby Clark, who fell in the ring jump last year as a rookie. And honestly, I thought that was going to be the limit of her run. I thought that was the big story. I was like, oh, that's good. She beat the ring jump. That's cool. She must do really well. She didn't just do well. She did amazing. She took down the whole thing. She beat it. She had to dive / slide on the diamonds, but she ended up beating the battering ram and then was able to make it up the warp wall in the end. Fantastic run. I absolutely didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, man, it's just crazy. For the female athletes, the teachers are the new pole vaulters in many ways. I mean, just every teacher is just killing it on the course. Go Alyssa Beard. You're ushering in the new generation of teachers. Who would have thunk? But for real, she did amazing. I was very happy for her, and she kept going. It was a thing where she didn't make it look easy, but she didn't make it look incredibly difficult either. It was that middle ground where she just showed enough struggle to where she's human, but it wasn't like the point where she was just like lucking out in every obstacle. And I'm very curious to see her in the finals to see what she has, because she was the top woman this episode, an episode with some pretty strong women athletes. So I really kind of want to see just overall if she maintains that level of competitiveness. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. It was just one of those runs. It's in the middle, and it kind of can get overlooked, but I was genuinely surprised by how well she did. And maybe that's a shame of myself, but good on her.
Yeah, we're talking about a course. Like you say that about the women. Do you think going into this that she thought, okay, so we've got Sarah Schoback, Maggie Thorne, Larissa Cottle, Sarah Heeson, Megan Martin, and Jennifer Tavernier, all running this course, but Abby Clark is definitely coming out on top.
Yeah, just absolutely insane, man. Good on her.
She beat a course that took out Megan Martin. Not to spoil the end here, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
After her, we had the run that we were all waiting for here. Enedina Stanger, the Unbreakable Ninja, took the course. And yeah, Kleenex stock went up this night for sure.
Yeah. Give your thoughts, because I know for you in particular, this run meant a lot. So, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. So if you listen back to Michael Stanger's original run that we covered, that hit me really hard. That was really one of them, probably still the most emotional I've gotten on a qualifying run, because of the unexpectedness of him taking it down, in addition to the whole backstory. It was just one of the highlights of the whole series for me. And watching Enedina, being able to walk again and watching him run was amazing and really hit home as well. For her to take the course, like I just couldn't deal with it. It was so over the top for me, and it was so unexpected. I didn't think that she would ever be able to do that. It was not something I thought was even in the picture. So yeah, I was all in. I was a sobbing mess, watched the whole thing. I thought they did a good job with it, and I thought she did a great job too. I just loved every second of it. Unfortunately, I mean, if she had beaten the steps, if she had gotten all the way to the end, I just would have had to turn it off and walk away. I wouldn't have been able to continue watching it.
Yeah. I referenced earlier this episode that with the Picas family, it's been a yearly thing where we kind of grow up with them and we feel almost like we're part of the family. With the Stangers, it's the same element where we've seen for years now updates in her status. And when we first were introduced to her husband, where I'm blanking on his name because I'm just focused on her, we get the emotional gut punch that just will always be seared in my brain, where I was genuinely in tears. And this show rarely does that, but I was genuinely in tears watching her story and just like, everything that happened. The fact that how easy it is for her to break bones and the pain that she was always in. And the fact that she had to, watch her children grow up, not from afar, but she couldn't be there with her family, and her children doing the things that they're doing. And I'm not a parent, but, as an educator and a librarian that works with children, I can't even fathom the pain that must be like emotionally. The fact that she didn't let her situation tear her down, the level of pain that she must have gone through to get to the point where she's at, I can't even fathom. But she did it. And she was actually able to go on this course and compete. In the moment that she even got past that first jump transition, instantly, congratulations, you get the Athletically Profound Run of the Night. I mean, that's not even close, right? And that, for me, just brought me to tears immediately. Genuinely, who the hell cares about everything else? Buzzers, whatever. This is real stuff. And she did that. A lot of people talk about people losing weight and running a 5K. And athletic people are like, oh, well, it's just a 5K, blah, blah, blah. It's not about completing the 5K. It's the journey getting to the point where you can do a 5K. And it's the same thing here. It's the journey. The fact that she was able to build herself up to the point where she can even compete on American Ninja Warrior. And that's something her family will always have. She is an American Ninja Warrior. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of the Stanger family. And genuinely, it is an honor and privilege to the fact that we were able to see their story. Genuinely.
There's not much else to say about that. She was fantastic, and looking forward to more updates next year. Maybe she can go further. Maybe she'll do it again. I don't know.
I sure hope so, man.
Oh, my God. Not going to be able to handle it. Moving on, we had a couple of fast forwards of some popular ninjas. We had Jennifer Tavernier, who got absolutely beat up by the course as she was running it, ended up falling on the ring jump, as with many others. Also didn't make the top 5. Ian Dory got
Tavernier didn't make the top 5.
No, she didn't. Ian Dory got fast forward as well. Missed the mega wall, but beat the regular one.
What's going on? Like, they keep, like, this is the second year in a row they're skipping Ian Dory. And this guy, if you guys remember, like, Ian Dory's been forever on my fantasy league for a reason. And I genuinely think he's going to make it, like, very far. He's like Joe Morosky, where he's all about consistency. He always makes it to Vegas. He always does well in Vegas. And, if it's just the thing of they don't have a story to tell of him, that's cool. You sure are not going to hear me complain. But I'm just very curious the fact that they're fully fast-forwarding him. This is definitely an athlete that you need to keep an eye out on. Everybody does. And he's always improving. So just curious to that.
Yeah, they're going to feature him on a stage 4 run. It's fine. But here's the thing. After all this heaviness that we've had, there is only one ninja that can really lift our spirits and bring us back to a happy place. And that is Jake Murray taking the course.
Yes.
So excited to see him back. They really put a lot of pressure on him to be funny, and he still manages to pull through. I love the video of him collapsing into his house. He's got the new haircut. It says he lost 35 pounds, even though he's the exact same size.
See, yeah, this guy is a blessing. Man, I love Jake Murray. So funny. He's genuinely witty and funny. And it's self-deprecating. Like, he knows he's funny, and he's not afraid to make fun of himself, which is something I genuinely appreciate. They were getting close to hamming it up a little too much with, like, multiple ninjas talking about his hair. I'm like, guys, Jake Murray is funny in himself. I want to see more of Jake Murray at this point, more than other people talking about Jake Murray's hair. And I'm so happy that at least we got as much Jake Murray witty funness as possible. This is a guy that genuinely can pull off being hilarious, and I enjoyed it. The face mask, like the dinosaur face mask and all that stuff, great stuff. But on the course, like, he's kind of being more straight-laced, less antics, Honestly, I'm cool with it, but it's one of those things where I might be in the minority. I have no idea. How do you feel, man?
I liked that he was serious about the obstacles, but he took a moment, even in the middle of it, to turn and make that little V thing that he does there, that little pose to the crowd. Like, I appreciate those little moments. Like, I just, take yourself out of it for a second, just kind of play it up. And then back to focusing, because I don't want him to fall early. For God's sakes, he's on my ANW fantasy team. I want him to do well. But, and I want to see him more. I want to see him go to Vegas, and I want to see him succeed. So if he needs to keep focused on what he's doing, that's cool with me. I'll do with the little video segments and once he celebrates on top of the wall or in the interview afterwards.
I think that Jake Murray, in particular, learned from last year where it's all right to be focused a little bit. Get yourself to Vegas, and then you can show off your wit and funniness when not running the course or in moments on the course, but not making it your overall theme, right? And I think this is a nice middle ground area for him because he's not just somebody that's a funny guy on the course. Like, he's an actual genuine threat, and I'm glad that he's taking the time to, I guess, focus on the fact that he can win this entire show. And he's been killing it on all the local ninja competitions. And I really think he's going to get very far this year. I almost envy you of the fact that you have him picked on your fantasy league, because this guy really, I can see getting very far.
So what did you think about his run at the mega wall? Like, he didn't pause. He just ran at it, failed immediately, and then ran over to the other one and went up that one. Like, when I saw him do that, I thought he just wanted to say that he had tried it and wanted the fastest time, maybe. But that doesn't seem to be the case, according to the interview afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is an upper body focused course, so the legs won't be worn out. So maybe, just go for it before your legs are a little fatigued. But at the same time, since it's so upper body, you are, like, in terms of, like, endurance and stamina, your lungs are going to be, like, pumping, you're going to be out of breath. So it's one of those things where it's hard to see it visually where he's at, but, like, he'll only know how much cardio he has at that moment. And if he felt comfortable doing it, he could have powered up that wall. I think it was less of that situation and more of just he didn't get up the warp or the mega wall, which many people can't. I'm sure he will next year. And, he ran straight up the next one. He was good. I think he was fine.
Yeah, he said in the interview afterwards when she asked about it, he said he didn't think he had a shot. That's why he didn't even really make much of an effort at it. He thought, there's no way of doing that. So he just didn't really put a lot into it.
Hey, I was under that thing and it was like,
yeah.
No way in hell. So it's like, I'm sure he's the same thing.
Yeah, he ended up crowd surfing out of the interview, which was
that was
a nice
amazing
finishing touch.
See, that's the thing I love about him. He's charismatic and he's like a super fan favorite. Like, you have to be a certain level of athlete and have confidence to get away with that kind of stuff. And he can. And that's why I love him.
We had a couple of fast forwards after him. We had Drew Knopp, who went out on the battering ram, and his younger brother, Dalton Knopp, who ended up beating the course. So the younger Knopp did it.
You guys want to know why I gave the early run in the night the horse abs moment of the year? Is because of stuff like this. There are so many other runs that could have been there with genuine, interesting stories. What about, like, Andrew Knopp's story? Like, dude beat cancer or whatever it was, like, all this stuff, and then he completes the course. There's a story, or at the very least, there's a run that I would love to see in, like, the entire thing. Not to mention his older brother, who's, like, the main guy that we know from the show, didn't make it. So there's that intrigue of, like, maybe can he make it? Can he get past where his brother couldn't?
Yeah.
There's a story. But instead, we got the most pointless more than 3 minutes. On my deathbed, man. Those 3 minutes. Yeah. Never get them back.
But we had after that Megan Martin to bring us back to reality, who had a little segment with Selena on the sidelines, a little girl with leukemia, who's adorable, and their little segments together are really nice. The only part of that segment I didn't like was that they quote unquote met at a local event. The Wolfpack Ninja Tour is where they met. Like, it was clearly what they were at. You gonna call that a local event? Ugh.
I don't know. For me, it was just a thing of, once again, it's an overall theme that I'm starting to see a lot of, and I really hope this doesn't become a thing for future years where they don't necessarily have a story for Megan Martin. And I remember last year they didn't really have a story for Megan Martin either.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so it's like, but they want to feature her, so they find this girl that she's, befriended, and it's a story, it's cool and all, but it very much feels... I hate that I'm saying this, but it feels forced. And I'm not saying their friendship's forced. I'm really not saying that. But the presentation of the story and everything, I don't think this is needed. And I think, and we've seen it in multiple episodes this season, where it's a well-known athlete and they just befriend somebody, typically like a younger person, and they're best friends with them and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, look, I'm sure these athletes are friends with a lot of young kids. It's cool when it's like an isolated thing where it's one or two ninja athletes that, present the story, or at least you tell this story. But it's another thing when it's many, many ninjas and it's the same story of the same thing. And for me, honestly, it just doesn't have the weight that, other stories have. Cool. She's befriended this little girl that's, completed cancer. I'm very happy for the family, and I really hate saying... I almost feel like a jerk talking about this.
Right.
I really do, and I'm sorry, guys. But I'm just saying, like, I've heard this story so many times, and it's just not there for me. And I hate the fact that, I'm like hearing this girl's story, and I don't care at the same weight that I should.
I get it. I actually don't disagree with you entirely. I was riding a thin line on this one and ended up falling on the side of liking it. I think mainly rescued for me towards the end, where I saw some of Megan's personality when she says, she said the little girl said she was a Ninja Warrior princess in training.
That was cute.
And she lit up like because Megan's always been about the girly girl stuff, or at least in her segments previously. So her personality came out in that moment really well. So I thought that worked for me overall. And I don't know. It's so strange that you can have such an amazing athlete with such a long history on this show with a crazy life of being like a top rock climber and a model and all of these things, and be like, like,
yeah.
There has to be interesting stories in there. Like, how can you not dig out some cool things that she's done lately or whatever, right? There's so much interesting about her. You don't need to lean on these stories if that's what's happening here. She's got an interesting life, and she's an interesting, fun person in her own right.
Yeah, or honestly, if there isn't something to present, like, you can take a year off of like having a story, or even that, like, if you don't have a story and you keep wanting to present Megan Martin, it could be the same of like, hey, I'm Megan Martin. This is what I'm doing this year. Look at me training, and keep it short. My problem last year with her, like, I think it was about her modeling or something, or traveling the world, was that it was like super long. And it's like, cool, give me like, a little update. Like, yay, this is Megan Martin. This is what I do. What up? And move on with the course, Nobody watching the show doesn't know Megan Martin.
That's a good point. I mean, really, the segment's not so much needed anymore. We get it, right? You can move on.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we're
to.
about to talk about somebody where they pretty much did it with Joe Morosky, Short and sweet.
Hey, that's true. Before him, we had a fast forward of Tyler Gillette, though, who missed the mega wall but did finish the course. Tyler's looking really strong.
Yeah, Tyler, I wanted to see his story also. But going back, just a heads up, with Megan Martin, I was genuinely shocked by the fact that she fell in that battering ram, man. I don't know. With her strengths and everything that she presents, I really thought that she would get through it. But those transitions are tricky, and I don't know. The more I think about it, Rich, the more I think they changed up that battering ram. I don't remember seeing a thing where they're jumping also diagonally, and I think that's a really cool element to it. Not to mention, like, it gets bigger than smaller and all this stuff. Like, there's a lot of like little minute details about that thing that really makes it difficult.
Yeah, it's not an easy obstacle. It's visually interesting. I like it overall. It's middle of the road, but it's good. But let's get to the final run of the night here. We've got Joe Morosky took the course because he got bumped from Philly because of the weather. Joe, just anytime you doubt him, anytime you second guess yourself at all, he puts you completely at ease. He just next level on the course. He's so smooth. He ended up missing the mega wall, which was probably one of the most shocking moments of the night because I thought he had that easily. But he still ended up getting the fastest time overall, and he threw his shoes. He just I guess he's blaming his shoes. Must have been slipping a bit.
I don't know. It was cute. They're like done the shoes, but at the same time, I'm like, bro, it's not your shoes. But
didn't seem like it, did it?
No, but Joe's got the mentality where he's just probably having fun. As we said, he's number 1 or number 2 in the world. He seems to always be up there with Drew Dreshel. Very curious to see who's going to come out on top this year with the money on the line. Also, I think about it. As always, precise, like a surgeon, so technical. And very good. It's Joe Morosky. There isn't much to say. Mega Wall shocked me. I would have thought in a million years he would have gotten it. And, he's human. That's cool. By the way, I don't know if you noticed him actually hitting like the regular Warped Wall buzzer. I've never seen somebody so crestfallen hitting that buzzer. Like, he was so disappointed and upset. And I was like, man, he really wanted that mega wall.
He did. You know he wanted that bad. Yeah, there's no question. And I thought he had it. He did this. He did the mega wall and did really well on it in the skills challenge last year.
Oh,
so
good point. Yeah. So it's another element of like he knows he can do it. Man, that's gotta. Yeah, he was very angry probably, but the fact that like money's on the line, he knows he can do it, just doesn't happen. It's all right, Joe. I have a good feeling you might be making $50,000 this year. Just saying.
There's a good chance. There's a really good chance.
Not a million, man.
Him and Drew are just. I can't even describe how much they make the course look like a whole different course. Like they don't even seem to be competing on the same level.
Yeah. It's almost like they're bored. It's like, all right, give me a challenge, guys.
Yeah. Can we just get to Vegas already? Like, this is just not up to it. Although the finals courses have been so crazy the last couple of years, I'm sure that'll give them a run for their money.
Oh, Vegas is always crazy. So
psyched no, not Vegas. I mean the city finals here.
Oh, yeah.
They'll probably be tested.
Yeah, now they think about it, city finals sometimes is even like way harder than like stage 1 in Vegas. Like city finals, ooh, those obstacles can be crazy hard. I'm very curious to see what they're gonna have for Minneapolis with them. That's it, man. I'm curious about next week, man. Let's talk about that. We got a preview for next week, and I don't know, guys. I wasn't there because I purposely wanted to be all fresh and going in to be genuinely surprised for other runs, and I feel like I have an emotional connection because I met all these athletes running in the finals next week. So maybe I'll have some like interesting thoughts, but I can't say I was there. I don't know. I'm a little worried about Adam Rail. They're showing him dangling on one of those obstacles, and I'm like, oh boy. The way he was dangling is usually what an athlete looks like when they're about to fall into the water.
See, that's why I don't watch the previews. I don't watch any of these things. I avoid I even turn away when they say coming up next and they start showing like little clips or even the beginning of the episodes. I don't watch any of that stuff. I don't want to know until I see them on the course. So.
Oh, well, I'm sure you appreciate so much me spoiling that for you.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. As long as that's the only part.
That's it. I mean, I don't know if he does. I'm just saying.
Well, right. Yeah. We don't know. And that's the way we like it, which kind of sucks because, we'd love to go to Vegas, for example, and watch it, but then it taints the whole season. We can't speculate. We know too much about what's going to happen.
Yeah, I've heard from people that cover the show, like, you go to Vegas and it's an amazing thing and you're there, but then it's like recapping it is, or just here, we've been to, tapings and it's so much harder to give off that genuine emotion of like excitement or whatever you had because you experienced it months ago.
Yeah. There's a pretty big difference. Before we wrap up this episode, though, I got to say, this is the most I've ever seen of, like, named ninjas that were completely skipped. No fast forward, no anything here. We had Michael Torres got 4th. Mike Myers got 6th. Sean Darling Hammond was 11th. Hunter Gerard was 17th. And Carson Voiles was 19th.
It's just crazy. Just so many ninjas skipped. So, and as I said already, there were a lot of named ninjas shown also, like so loaded with ninjas this region. And when you think about it, once again, we had an horse ab segment on this episode. Talk about a segment where they could have just shown like so many more athletes in that area, like, and I got to give a special shout out to DJ Tight Pants. If you guys don't know him, he's amazing on Twitter and everything. One of the homies from the podcast. And really, this guy competed first time in Minneapolis. And from what I saw, he had a pretty entertaining run also. So I'm saying, like, there's a lot of people with interesting stories that could have been shown. And it sucks that they weren't, but hey, I hope that at least a lot of the named athletes, they'll get their time to shine in the finals.
Yeah, DJ Tight Pants has been a huge supporter of the podcast. Very interesting guy, very interesting story, and we hope to that you'll hear more about him in the near future.
Hint.
So that is it for this week. Thank you all so much for listening. Please make sure to subscribe and rate on Apple Podcasts. If you give a 5-star review, you will get a shout out from the one and only Bijan. Ninja Warrior is in full swing. We need you to help us spread the word that we're here. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are, share out our posts or make your own, please. And if you'd like to reach out to me, I am Rich at ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Yeah, hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
All right, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Peace and love, y'all.